Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. My name is Jesse Milestone, and you've just stumbled upon a meant to offend video, so if you're offended, good. Now, I want to talk about this because since Game of Thrones episode that aired, Season 8, Episode 2 that aired on Sunday night, there's been a lot of buzz back and forth about this particular subject, and so I'm going to touch on it. If there are episode spoilers, so if you for some reason are a Game of Thrones fan who cares about spoilers and haven't already seen this episode, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Go find, if you don't have HBO, go steal someone else's. Anyway, so, I mean, you can seriously just fake an ID, check into a hotel, steal their HBO, watch it, leave. You'll be fine. And nothing bad will probably happen to you. Anyway, so here's the deal. So Arya loses her virginity to Gendry in this lovely sex scene in some on top of grain sacks, which to be fair is like where a lot of my fantasy sex scenes always take place, in some sort of farm building on top of like hay or something like that. So delightful for me. Anyway, but the point is, so this happens, culminating relationship that many people have shipped, including my best friend who was sitting next to me, squealing very loudly when this happened. I was not nearly as loud because I don't think I can hit that decibel. But anyway, the bottom line is, my feelings about the sex scene were great! A consensual sex scene in Game of Thrones between two people who don't suck. How delightful. For me, that sexual chemistry between Arya and Gendry, not only sexual chemistry, but some sort of romantic chemistry, has been there for a long-ass time. As a reader of the books, it was clearly there in the books. That's something there. She treated him, you know, she acted when she first met him, she was, of course, years younger then, and she acted like a little girl with a crush around him all the time. So I was like, yeah, this makes sense. Apparently it doesn't make sense for a bunch of the internet, because the internet is like, wait, what do you mean Arya Stark isn't gay? She was a tomboy. She chose weapons over pretty dresses. She was more interested in learning to fight than learning how to court highborn lords. She must obviously be gay. And what I say to that is, stop perpetuating a damaging stereotype. Stop it. Because you think, oh my god, well, so I was the gay woman who grew up as a tomboy, and so clearly all tomboy women must be gay and should be like, just like me, and I'm so sad that we don't have that. I'm so sad that we don't have Arya Stark, the gay tomboy, because, you know, there was never any reason to make her have to like boys, and obviously if there's no reason to like boys, you should always make them like, you should always make women like women, because that makes sense, because totally the majority of the female population is just naturally gay. Honestly, like, really, did you want? I mean, if you thought Arya was a lesbian, did you want a gay sex scene with her? Because Game of Thrones is not exactly your yay progressive diversity kind of show. Like, a lesbian sex scene in Game of Thrones, kind of like when Yara and Arya start making out, this is much more sexually exploitative than it is like, hooray for gay people. Like, the whole, I mean, if you want to have two gay dudes in the show, fine, but let's face it, women on women action is something that has been subjected to the male gaze for a long-ass time, so throwing two women effing in Game of Thrones is not necessarily uber progressivism. It may just be another way to please male viewership, and in which case, if that happened, you'd probably be up in arms about that. Be like, oh my god, I was so happy that she was, because you're never satisfied with anything, so you're gonna be like, oh my god, she was gay, but how exploitative was that sex scene? It was so terrible. So the reality is you're never gonna be happy whether she was gay or straight. And in this whole getting pissed off at Game of Thrones and getting pissed off at the showrunners for not making Arya gay because you wanted her to be gay, once again, is perpetuating a damaging stereotype. Sure, there are plenty of tomboys who grow up and become gay, and there are plenty who are not. There are plenty of women who read more masculine sometimes, who have lower voices, who have shorter hair, who don't necessarily subscribe to traditional femininity, who are not gay. Like, let me see, can I think of one? That's right, me! I grew up as a tomboy, and I had people tell me all the time I was gay. I'm not gay. Sorry. I had this happened repeatedly over and over again. Also, as I got older, you'd think it would get better. Oh, because now we're accepting of that sort of thing. So who cares if people think you're gay? Well, it's not so much people thinking you're gay. It's people trying to force an identity upon you that doesn't fit with you. Does that sound like a familiar thing that's happened to you that's uncomfortable for you? Yeah, people try to force that identity upon me because of certain stereotypes. And guess what? Y'all are not helping to not perpetuate those stereotypes. I'm not saying you should change the way you are and not be a stereotypical queer person, but acting like every single person in the media you see who's a little bit tomboyish or a little bit masculine is clearly gay or must be gay or should be gay. These are the reasons that I've been sexually harassed by tons of women. because they insist, oh, I must be gay, and if I'm not, well, I'll make you gay. Do you know how insulting of a thing that is to say to somebody? Do you know how uncomfortable of an interaction that is? I mean, that's no different than me going up to a gay man and be like, I'm gonna make you straight. We all find that very offensive, don't we? We all find it very uncomfortable and unnecessary when someone else tries to put an identity upon us that doesn't fit with us, huh? And then it goes into straight up sexual harassment, because I've been told many disturbing, explicit things about what these women want to do to me that I don't want to do to them, because I don't swing that way. Sorry. And these are things that I would not want a man to be telling me that I've just met about, oh, what he's gonna do to me later. That was, of course, if you heard that, you would be like, oh my God, that's absolutely sexual harassment. So how is it any different? Sexual harassment is not more virtuous because you're in a protected class of people. That doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it more okay or more acceptable because, oh, well, it's fine, I'm gay. So what, you're allowed to sexually harass me? I was sexually assaulted by a woman on the job. Because there was a queer woman who was friends with the manager of the place, and she was in there thinking she could own the place, and the manager was not doing anything to stop her from flirting aggressively with me. So she cornered me by my, next to my, like, the machine where you put the things in. So I turned around after entering an order. She's like, hips pressed into me, starts kissing me. I was sexually assaulted at work. Did anyone care? No, no one cared. Because it's fine. Because it's whatever. She was just going to make me gay. And I was just going to be kissed against my will by a woman. And everything was going to be totally fine. Like, that's the only time I've been sexually assaulted in my life, by the way. I've been sexually harassed by men aplenty. That is the only time in my life I've actually been sexually assaulted was by a woman. So thank you very much for perpetuating these wonderful stereotypes that all women who are a little bit boyish, and this is like you walk around acting like, oh, you want us to break down gender barriers? You want us to break down gender stereotypes? But the second a woman is a little bit boyish, oh my God, she must be gay. She must be gay. You guys do this. The queer community does this just as much, if not more, than the straight community. And this is something people like me have to deal with all of the time. Because guess what? When a straight person is like, oh, you must be gay, and I'm like, no, I'm not. They're like, cool, drop it. When a gay person is like, oh, you must be gay, and I'm like, no. They're like, huh, you want to bet? Let's see if I can change that for you. I'm like, stop. No, that's inappropriate. Don't do that. If a guy came up to me and was like, and I was like, I'm not into you, and he's like, I will change that for you, I'd be like, you're trying to rape me, stop. And I feel the same way when a woman does that. The only difference is that I am stronger than a lot of other women, so I feel better about being able to overpower them in that situation. But now I know Krav Maga, and nuts are soft, so there's that. Not that I'm saying that I feel good about overpowering any man, I'm just saying you guys kind of have an off switch, and if you give me a reason to, I will make use of it if I absolutely have to. Anyway, so that bothers me. That bothers me a lot. It bothers me also that people are all like, oh my God, and everyone's acting like, oh, it's weird watching her have sex because I feel like she's my kid's sister. That's not. I'm not being sexist by projecting those feelings onto her. Like you kind of are, like a little bit though. Because the thing is, it's the same people who are like she should have been gay, or like she should have just not been sexualized, being like, I feel protective of her. I'm like, well, that's great, because obviously we are just cute little delicate flowers that you need to protect. So stop, because the most normal human beings were like, she's all grown up now. She want to get laid by a dude. There you go. There's a dude. She's getting laid, it's consensual, they're adults, hooray. Like, did it bother? I mean, Daenerys was supposed to be under 18 when she had sex with Khal Drogo, and in the show that's much more rapey than it is in the book. Did that bother you too? Did you guys just forget about that? That was totally fine when it happened, because Emilia Clarke looks more mature, and the actress was older when she started playing the character, and you wanted to bang her. So it was okay when you wanted to bang Daenerys, but since you don't sexually attracted to Arya, oh my God, she's my kid's sister, she can't be sexualized. So once again, just pushing your personal opinions and beliefs about people onto them. I'm sure you do this in your regular lives too, to ordinary people. Stop. Don't do it. It's not cool. While we're on the subject, I just want to bring up something else related that's just nuts. Somebody is a friend of a friend. I'm protecting identities here because this woman is straight crazy, clearly, who told her daughter, her little bitty daughter, like, oh, I don't like when the bathrooms say women on them, because women is an offensive term because it has the word men in it. What? What? Just ride the crazy train all the way to the sunset at this point. There are plenty of words that have other words in it that mean other things, and compound words. What? Also, what is the idea of just a man offensive? Like, that's the whole idea. And that's, okay, back to the Arya point, too. This brings me right back there. This whole idea that just a white man is offensive, that heterosexuality is offensive. I'm reading things on the internet being like, well, it's just so tragic, and it was so difficult for me as a queer person having to watch this heterosexual relationship come to fruition. We don't say that. I don't say that when I see a queer sex scene. I watch Brokeback Mountain, and I'm like, ooh, it's so uncomfortable for me to watch these very attractive men that I would very much like to sleep with myself, sleep with each other instead, because it means that they're choosing each other over me, and that's so difficult for me. That would be straight up homophobic if I said that. There would be rioting, in the streets. Oh my God, how would a homophobic thing to say? To be like, well, this makes me uncomfortable because this is not the way I experience sex. And I don't agree with that statement. Like, I don't think that's a good statement to make. I know that there are plenty of heterosexual people that feel that way, and that has been read as very homophobic a lot of the time. And a lot of people in the queer community don't like those attitudes. So how is it different when you're there being like, well, I don't appreciate this heterosexual relationship being foisted upon me? Like, most of the world is heterosexual. Like, I'm sorry that you don't see enough of yourself in, honestly, if you looked at the representation, like, then maybe it's small based on the world population, but the world population is largely heterosexual. And so if the majority of relationships in TV and cinema are heterosexual, it's not a personal attack. It's just reflective of the world that you live in. Yeah, the tomboyish girl can like a man. Oh my God, what's the big deal? What's the big freaking deal? You're making it like being heterosexual is evil. You can't have this both ways. You can't be out there demanding respect and saying, respect me because we're fine, but then all your heterosexual relations were disgusting and evil. I don't want to see that. You're just doing the same thing in reverse. You're just being just as bigoted. And you're not morally superior. There's no moral superiority in bigotry just because there's fewer of you. That doesn't make it any better. Having fewer people be hateful doesn't make the hate any more acceptable or more tolerable. So stop with the straight phobia, because that's all you're doing when you post about things like this, when you freak out online about things like this. Oh my God, a tomboyish girl has to be gay. Oh my God, Arya Stark's not gay. Down with the system. It's so evil. It's so cruel. All you're doing is perpetuating hatred. Stop it. Just deal. You want more queer characters? Write them. You have two, whoever's running the show or is running the show the way they want to run the show, everyone's listening around demanding, like, I want you to tell my story, and then gets mad because you don't tell the story right. If you want your story told, if you want to see your story told, go out and tell it. Go out and freaking tell it. Write your best-selling memoir that gets turned into a movie. It's not other people's responsibility to know your life, to understand your circumstances, and tell your story for you. You want your story told? Go do it yourself. That's how change happens. Change happens when you get up and decide the kind of change you want to see in the world and go make it. Not whine and complain because you never get that change, and continue to whine and complain because even if you do get that change, you're being miserable is such an ingrained part of your identity that you're just going to find something else to be miserable about. So just stop being miserable. Anyway, if you're offended, awesome. If not, I'll try harder next time. Go ahead and share this video with people you think need to see it. Press that like button. Click that video popping up that says get involved with me. That will give you all sorts of links to my Teespring, my Patreon, all sorts of fun things like that. All different ways to get involved with this channel and help it grow. All your engagement helps me so much. I can't even begin to express it. I'm so grateful to all of you who are involved with my channel, who continue to be involved with my channel. Thank you so much. I can't do this without you. God Empress out!